Yang Shan Ke, or Nourishing the Lord of Life. 1. There is a limit to our life, but to knowledge there is no limit. With what is limited, to pursue after what is unlimited is a perilous thing, and when, knowing this, we still seek the increase of our knowledge, the peril cannot be averted. There should not be the practice of what is good with any thought of the fame which it will bring, nor of what is evil with any approximation to the punishment which it will incur. An accordance with the central element of our nature is the regular way to preserve the body, to maintain the life, to nourish our parents, and to complete our term of years. 2. His cook was cutting up an ox for the ruler Wen-hui. Whenever he applied his hand, leaned forward with his shoulder, planted his foot, and employed the pressure of his knee. In the audible ripping off of the skin and slicing operation of the knife, the sounds were all in regular cadence, movements and sounds proceeded as in the dance of the mulberry forest, and the blended notes of the king shao, the ruler said, are admirable, that your art should have become so perfect. Having finished his operation, the cook laid down his knife and replied to the remark, "What your servant loves is the method of the Tao, something in advance of any art. When I first began to cut up an ox, I saw nothing but the entire carcass. After 3 years I ceased to see it as a whole. Now I deal with it in a spirit-like manner, and do not look at it with my eyes. The use of my senses is discarded, and my spirit acts as it wills. Observing the natural lines, my knife slips through the great crevices and slides through the great cavities, taking advantage of the facilities thus presented. My art avoids the membranous ligatures, and much more the great bones. A good cook changes his knife every year. It may have been injured in cutting. An ordinary cook changes his every month. It may have been broken. Now my knife has been in use for 19 years. It has cut up several thousand oxen, yet its edge is as sharp as if it had newly come from the whetstone. There are the interstices of the joints, and the edge of the knife has no appreciable thickness. When that which is so thin enters where the interstice is, how easily it moves along. The blade has more than room enough. Nevertheless, whenever I come to a complicated joint and see that there will be some difficulty, I proceed anxiously and with caution, not allowing my eyes to wander from the place, and moving my hand slowly. Then, by a very slight movement of the knife, the part is quickly separated, and drops like a clod of earth to the ground. Then, standing up with the knife in my hand, I look all round, and in a leisurely manner, with an air of satisfaction, wipe it clean, and put it in its sheath. The ruler Wen-hui said, "Excellent. I have heard the words of my cook, and learned from them the nourishment of our life." 3. When Kang Wanxin saw the master of the left, he was startled and said, "What sort of man is this? How is it he has but one foot? Is it from heaven, or from man?" Then he added, "It must be from heaven, and not from man. Heaven's making of this man caused him to have but one foot. In the person of man, each foot has its merit. By this I know that his peculiarity is from heaven, and not from man. A pheasant of the marshes has to take 10 steps to pick up a mouthful of food, and 30 steps to get a drink, but it does not seek to be nourished in a coop. Though its spirit would there enjoy a royal abundance, it does not think such confinement good." 4. When Lao Tan died, Qin Shi went to condole with his son, but after crying out 3 times, he came out. The disciples said to him, "Were you not a friend of the master?" "I was," he replied, and they said, "Is it proper then to offer your condolences merely as you have done?" He said, "It is. At first I thought he was the man of men, and now I do not think so. When I entered a little ago and expressed my condolences, there were the old men wailing as if they had lost a son, and the young men wailing as if they had lost their mother. In his attracting and uniting them to himself in such a way, there must have been that which made them involuntarily express their words of condolence, and involuntarily wail, as they were doing. And this was a hiding from himself of his heaven nature, and an excessive indulgence of his human feelings, a forgetting of what he had received in being born. What the ancients called the punishment due to neglecting the heaven nature. When the Master came, it was at the proper time. When he went away, it was the simple sequence of his coming. Quiet acquiescence in what happens at its proper time, and quietly submitting to its ceasing afford no occasion for grief or for joy. The ancients described death as the loosening of the cord on which God suspended the life. What we can point to are the sticks that have been consumed, but the fire is transmitted elsewhere, and we know not that it is over and ended.